Yo, it's your homeboy Kiiro in the building. Welcome to episode 67 of my One Piece discussion series. In this episode, I talk about One Piece chapter 754. If you're a subscriber, you should know by now. The way I do my chapter reviews is I do a review, then I do a discussion afterwards. So let's start with the review. This chapter was a pretty good chapter. It was a lot better than last week's, and it was full of surprises. Quite a lot of surprises, a lot of new things introduced. Once again, a setup chapter, but at the same time, we did get a little bit of a teaser at the end, and pretty. And overall, I'm just generally pleased with this chapter and how it turned out. And so yeah, that's the end of my review. Now we're gonna move on with the discussion. In this chapter, there was about four things that really stood out, or four things that I found important or worth talking about, and those are the four things I'm going to go over in the discussion. So the first thing is Kanjuro, which is a reveal going this chapter. We finally see Kanjuro, we see his powers. He's pretty much like Sai from Naruto. If you haven't seen Naruto, or you don't know who Sai is, basically he's this dude who can make his drawings come into real life. Now Kanjuro can do pretty much the same thing, but a key difference is it seems as if Kanjuro can make himself a drawing as well, because it is stated that he came out of the wall, which means he was part of the wall for a while, and I'm going to assume that he was a drawing on the wall that he sort of made, which is so it sort of makes sense considering his powers. And some people might think that Kanjuro might be the next Straw Hat because, in all honesty, given all the characters we've seen on Dressrosa, or in this arc rather, none of them are quite Straw Hat material in my opinion. There's always something missing from each of the candidates. There's just one thing, and in Kajuro's case, the only thing we don't know much about him, so he seems like a decent candidate. But what is missing is he's introduced so late in this arc that he doesn't have all this backstory that the typical Straw Hat does. Obviously, we do have the next arc to sort of develop a backstory for him. We might have a sort of Robin situation where he becomes a Straw Hat first, and then we get a follow-up arc after. That is a possibility, but right now let's just assume he's not going to be a Straw Hat, although he is definitely a potential candidate if we want to sort of start naming people. Okay, so the second thing was Dellinger. He's putting in more work. He blitzed Blue Gilly, or whatever his name is. He beat him pretty easily, and I think that's a decent feat for Dellinger, because Blue Gilly was putting in a lot of work when he was in the Colosseum. So two chapters in a row of Dellinger proving he's not as far as most of us thought, because at least I never respected Dellinger, but I think with these two chapters it's safe to say that he is a legit fighter. The third thing was, well, Luffy, Law, Cavendish, they're finally on the third level, which is really cool. Just what do you call it, two more chapters before they reach the top. Next chapter they'll reach Little Garden. The chapter after that they'll reach the top most likely, because the way it's going, or the way it's been going, they've covered one level per week. So unless there's some unforeseen thing, or it takes another break or something, we should reach the top in the next two chapters, which is very, very exciting. So on level 3 they do bump into some like huge toys that resemble the toy soldier. They're sort of like the sort of toy you see in the Nutcracker. That's the sort of ballet thing or whatever. And what's interesting is these toys are pretty big, which makes me assume that they're not actually toys per se. They're not Sugar's creations. They might be puppets from Doflamingo, because we are yet to see Doflamingo actually create an actual puppet. He has done string clones, but that is more of a string clone than a mere puppet. And so we're finally seeing some puppeteering from Doflamingo, or at least that's my assumption right now. That's my theory. I don't think it's far-fetched, because like I said, these do not resemble Sugar's toys, and they all look identical, which is another weird thing. Sugar's toys tend to look different from one another. And that's the third thing. The final thing is obviously Zoro versus Pika. This was what made the chapter so amazing. So Zoro is putting in work, and Pika's just running away like he did initially in the beginning. And when Robin, Rebecca, and Bartolomeo come, Zoro decides to get a bit serious, because he doesn't want Pika hurting them, obviously. And he then uses Santorio for the first time on Dressrosa, and he does a 1,080 pound cannon, which is pretty strong. I'm not quite sure if he split Pika in half. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but the slash did go that far and did do a lot of damage. I'm not quite sure if he one-shot the Pika either, but it did look that way, and that's pretty ridiculous. If he did one-shot Pika, obviously Zoro might get lost again, and so that might be Oda's way of stalling and keeping him away, or Zoro might just follow Rebecca, Bartolomeo, and Robin. He might be the person who makes it easy for them to get to Luffy or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this chapter review. Pretty sick chapter, especially with the ending. A lot of nice information revealed, decent setup, just overall a very good chapter. Not the craziest chapter in the world, not the best chapter ever. The little fight we did get wasn't that long, but I'm still happy that we did get a little bit of a fight, and if the fight isn't finished, that means we're going to continue with next chapter. So again, just overall a really pleasant chapter. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and as always, thank you guys for watching.